So, back down here on the ground, we just left right there the mash tun. Our liquid is now being poured out of that, trapping all the solids in the bottom. Liquid is now called the wort. We move it over here to the boil kettle, where obviously we're going to boil it. The only things we've added thus far into the beer are water and the malted grains. And we've separated out most of the malted grains, and the liquid, whatever it's extracted from those malted grains, is all that's left. So now we have to boil it. Boiling acts to sterilize it. Up till over here before the mash tun, it can all be a pretty dirty process. Contaminants aren't too big of a deal over here. Now we boil it to sterilize any contaminants that may have gotten in, and from this point forward it all has to be pretty sterile, or very sterile. And so we're going to boil it for anywhere from 30 minutes to 2 hours, depending on the type of beer. During the boil, we can add other things in. Usually hops are the main thing that are added during the boil. This is where you get some bitterness from, some of your aromas, some of your flavors. Your color has pretty much already been determined, but color may change a little bit during this, probably not much. But we'll add hops during this, we'll boil it for a time, and after the boil, they'll take some measurements to determine whether it's boiled long enough or not, but we pretty much know for each recipe how long it needs to be in there. But after the boil, we'll move over here to the whirlpool kettle. There's still some solids left in the liquid, especially now that we've added hops and stuff, so there's solids reintroduced to it, and we need to get those out. So this essentially is just a big whirlpool inside here, which makes all the solids gather at the center. There's a certain style of filter in there that will trap those in the center of the whirlpool, separate most of them out. There will still be some things in suspension in there, but very small solids. And that's it. And then as it's in there, there's no heat applied to this. The beer will start cooling down in there. We need it to cool down for the yeast to work. So once we separated as much solids as we can, it will get piped down through here, down to this heat exchanger. This will get it down to, for most of the ales, we need to get it down to below 75 degrees, depending on the style of beer, depending on the style of yeast. It'll be about 65 to 75 degrees is what we need to get the beer down to for the yeast to work. If it's too cold, the yeast won't work. Too hot, the yeast definitely won't work. So pump it through here. Gets pumped all the way through here. We oxygenate it a little bit. There's some oxygen there. We definitely want to aerate it for when we add the yeast. They need a little oxygen to work with. So from there, we're going to move over here onto the fermentation stage, and we'll pause it again.